Okay, we're continuing our discussion of these kind of infinite limits involving infinity. Um, right now, we're looking at a limit as x approaches -2 on this one right here that I call problem number 7. So what I want you to know here is that it doesn't approach infinity. Okay, so once more, it's not approaching infinity. X is approaching -2. All right, but what we're going to take a look at here in these examples is how we actually define vertical asymptotes. So you probably looked at these in a college algebra or pre-calc class, and the teacher probably told you, well, all you have to do is figure out where the denominator equals 0, and that's typically where it happens. Of course, there's some exceptions where they actually are wholes and not asymptotes, but in this case, we're dealing with the variety that are asymptotes. Okay, so we define a vertical asymptote actually through limits. Okay, and it is that the limit as x approaches some number from the left or the right approaches one of the infinities. So right here, number 7 is different than the ones we're going to look at because this one wants the limit in general. So let's zoom in here, and we're going to notice that up and down here is this -2, and I've made this dashed line so that you can see. That's why I wrote this in here. All right, but what happens when you approach -2 from the left? Well, it actually shoots down to -infinity. And what happens when you approach -2 from the right? Okay, well, it actually shoots up to positive infinity. So if you're talking about the limit in general, we would say it does not exist because the left-hand side and the right-hand side are not in agreement. So this one right here does not exist, and we leave it at that because while it's approaching infinity, it's approaching infinity in either direction. So it has a vertical asymptote at x equals -2, but it's approaching the two different infinities. Therefore, we can say the limit does not exist. All right. We can be more specific, though, if we're looking at a one-sided limit or if the infinities that were being approached are actually the same. Let's take a look at the next one. 1 over x minus 5, the limit as we approach 5 from the left-hand side. So we're only looking and considering the left-hand side limit. We're coming in towards 5. There's 5. And what's going on? It's actually shooting downward to -infinity. So since this is only one directional, all right, it's only one direction. All right, some of you probably like that band, but anyway, I'm not referring to them. All right. This one is going towards, as you approach 5 from the left, -infinity. Okay, so this is our answer. To be more specific, it's going towards -infinity. We have a vertical asymptote at 5. If we were to look on the other side, x approaches 5 from the right, our answer for that would be positive infinity. We would say it does not exist in general. All right, but we're only looking at one side here. Take a look at another example. As we approach -3 from the left, here's my -3, right? From the left, what's going on? It's shooting downward, -infinity. Okay, so this one right here is -infinity. Okay, we're just taking a real simple graphical approach to this. All right, very simply analyzing the graph. All right, again, if you were talking about the right-hand side, well, you would say that the limit is approaching positive infinity because it's shooting up to the top there. Okay, last one. All right, this one right here, as we approach 10 from the right, so here's 10, we're approaching it from the right. What's going on? It's shooting up towards positive infinity. So that's our answer then for this one, positive infinity. But I want you to notice as you approach 10 from the left, it's also shooting up to positive infinity. So they may say that as x approaches 10 in general, it approaches positive infinity. That might be okay to state, but of course the limit does not exist. Okay, the same thing happens there, but you might also see some people will tell you the limit is infinity, and that's okay too. All right, but we're looking really at one directional limits here, and this solidifies that concept from college algebra, from pre-cal, about the existence of an asymptote. So it's kind of neat. All right, maybe something they didn't get into back in that class, but here we'll talk about it. It's calculus. All right, and we define those through limits. So as always, I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, remember, like and subscribe.